everyone, I'm attorney Bianca Jordan from brazenlegal.com. Today's video is on the expedited removal changes that were announced yesterday. It's a lot of information, so I have my notes with me, so please bear with me. As always, this video is for informational purposes only. It is not legal advice, but if you do want legal advice specific to your situation, you can visit brazenlegal.com/contact. So yesterday, July 22nd, this administration announced changes to their expedited removal procedures. And so I wanted to do a quick video on what exactly that means so that you can understand what the law was before, what the changes are, and how you can protect yourself if you happen to be one of the immigrants that falls under this category. So before I get into the changes, I just want to recap what the law is for the benefit of the people that don't know. Expedited removal has always been a thing. This isn't brand new. This was already happening. Expedited removal, so removal is basically deportation. Most non-lawyers refer to removal as deportation. It's basically the process of removing someone from the United States. And so our immigration laws always allowed for that, and they basically allowed for immigration officers to remove people from the United States without having to go through the formal process of appearing in front of an immigration judge if they came to the United States by sea and they came with no papers, or they were deemed inadmissible due to fraud or misrepresentation due to, for example, lying about a material fact on another application, such as, for example, like a B2 visa application or a green card application or something like that. So the change that went into effect yesterday is basically removing that limitation of if you came by sea. It's basically any port of entry. If you came, by sea or by foot or by plane, if you're in the United States with no papers, or you were deemed inadmissible due to fraud or misrepresentation, and you've been in the United States for less than 2 years, you are subject to expedited removal. There are two exceptions. So first, this does not apply to unaccompanied minors. So children that are coming here without parents, they are not subject to expedited removal. Secondly, if you are an immigrant who fears persecution, if you fear returning to your home country due to fear of persecution or torture, you will not be processed for expedited removal. So what would end up happening is, ICE would pick you up and, you'd be subject to expedited removal. But if you have a claim of fear of persecution or torture, that immigration officer would refer you to an asylum officer who would conduct a credible fear interview. If that asylum officer deems your claim credible and thinks that you really do have a real fear of persecution or torture, that asylum officer will refer you to an immigration officer so that, an immigration judge who will continue to process your application. If the asylum officer deems that you do not have a credible fear of persecution or torture, you can request that an immigration judge review your application from the beginning to see if maybe they disagree with that asylum officer. So what are some things that you can do to protect yourself if you happen to be one of those immigrants that falls into that category? First, it's really important that you know your rights. I did a blog post on your rights as to what you should do if ICE comes to your home or your job, or if you encounter ICE on the street. You can find that at brazenlegal.com/blog. But just really quickly, if ICE comes to your home, you do not need to answer the door. You do not need to sign anything. You have a right to remain silent. Just tell the immigration officer, I am exercising my right to remain silent. And that's it. Don't open the door, don't sign anything. If ICE comes to your job, same thing. You can exercise your right to remain silent. Don't sign anything. Don't show ICE officers any documentation that would identify your home country. And if you happen to encounter ICE in public, like on the streets, ask them if you are under arrest or if you're free to go. If you are free to go, you can, please walk, don't run. Similarly, you can also exercise your right to remain silent. Don't sign anything. You have the right to call an attorney. And definitely make sure that you have an attorney. If you are one of these immigrants, make sure that you have an immigration attorney. Save their contact information in your cell phone in case you or someone you know ends up getting picked up by ICE. If you've been in the United States for longer than 2 years, make sure that you have paperwork that can show that, because again, this expedited removal only applies to immigrants that are here for less than 2 years. So if you can prove that you've been in the United States for longer than 2 years, that will help you. It's really super important that you have an attorney, especially if you believe that you have a credible fear of persecution or torture if returned to your home country. You want to work with an immigration lawyer that can help you prepare an asylum application. Asylum is increasingly difficult nowadays, and you really only get one bite of the apple. So you really want to make sure that you're working with an immigration attorney who can adequately prepare your application for asylum. And lastly, especially if you have U.S. citizen children, if you haven't already, please work with an immigration lawyer who can help you to devise a plan in case the worst happens and you're picked up by ICE or you're deported. You can find relatives or friends, close family friends, that would be able to step in and take care of your children for you and make decisions for you in your absence. It doesn't have to be an official adoption per se, but having some type of plan in actions where somebody can pick your kids up from school in your absence and help to make certain decisions for you while you're unable to do that for your children. I hope you found this video helpful. Please visit brazenlegal.com/immigration to learn more about me and my law firm. Thanks for watching.